I'm Jeanette Pincus, and this is Tuesday, December 5th, 2023, and I have the honor of interviewing Jeri Finkelstein about Dallas Kosher. So, Jeri, thank you so much for sharing.
My pleasure. Happy to be here.
First thing I'd like to start with is, what's the purpose of the organization?
The purpose of our organization is to promote the observance of kashrus through supervision, education, and service. So we are here to serve this community in Dallas, the greater Dallas area, and help get product out to people, to help get grocery stores, to have kosher departments, to find restaurants, to work with restaurant owners so that they provide the service that people require in our community. We believe in being all-inclusive of everyone in our community. That's very important, and that's why it is important to have organizations like the Federation or the JCC or JFS have an event for 1,000 people and keep it kosher, so everyone can come.
Thank you. How did you get to be part of this?
I got to be part of this in kind of a strange way. My husband, Bill Finkelstein, was forming the organization called the Vaad Hakashrus of Dallas, Inc., making it a corporation, a nonprofit organization in Dallas, and it became a 501c3. There was no office, there were no employees, and my husband from his law office would have his secretary make a newsletter, and they would get membership, and it just became very tedious. So he asked me if I would do a short-term strategic plan for this organization. I was doing that for the Center for Nonprofit Management throughout the Dallas Metroplex for other nonprofit organizations. So I said, sure, I'll do that. So it took me about 6 months to do the strategic plan through surveys, talking to people, interviews, what are the needs in our Dallas community. So when I gave my report back to the executive board, and I said, number one, you have to have a manager. You can't expect one part-time rabbi to run an organization. And they said, okay, why don't you do that? Well, I looked at them and I said, there are two things that I require. One, don't pay me because I want to do it my way or the highway. And I believe I know what needs to be done, and if you can deal with that, I will do this from my home. So I did that for a couple of years, and it grew into a full-time position. So I began working full-time for Dallas Kosher, along with Rabbi Shaul, who was hired in 1989. My husband hired Rabbi Shaul from Akiba, where he was a teacher. So I worked with Rabbi Shaul, and I came on board in 1995, and we found that we needed another employee, another rabbi, because we had, by then we had some commercial accounts and we had some retail accounts. So we hired Rabbi Sholi Klein in 1996. And the three of us have met together every day since then.
Y'all have been together a long time.
Yes.
You mentioned those two rabbis. Is there anybody else that's been involved with you in the community?
We've had many very, very strong volunteers. I would say before Bill became involved in Dallas Kosher, that there were a group of volunteers in our community, the Gersons, the Jasons. There are many, many more families, and they convinced Bill to take over from them as they were aging, and they really wanted some young people involved. So I think at that time it was Bill, Daryl Meyerowitz, Bob Milstein, and Steve Rosenberg. And these people decided as young men that they would take over from the older generation and keep it going. That's when Bill made all the changes, made it the organization a 501c3 and a membership organization.
How do you feel that this Dallas Kosher has changed over the years? Has there been different needs that have come up that you feel and the community's changed?
The community's changed a great deal. So growing up here in Dallas, I knew that my rabbi kept kosher. I knew that maybe one or two of my friends had kept kosher in their homes, but I really didn't understand keeping kosher, and my family did not. My husband's family did not. And we decided we would start very slowly, and it has been a journey over the last, 40 years? And I forgot the question.
Well, just how it's changed.
Oh, okay. I can give you an example
Yes.
of how the organization has changed. When I first started, and I would go to the hotels, I knew every manager at every hotel that was serving kosher banquet service. And I would often meet with mothers or grandmothers that wanted the event, the wedding, the bar mitzvah, they wanted it to be kosher. And they had an argument with their daughters, their sons, we don't really need to have it kosher. Then about 10 years ago, I found myself meeting with the daughters and the sons saying, my parents don't want kosher. They don't understand kosher, but we want it kosher because we have a kosher home and our children are going to the Jewish day school. And that's really, in a nutshell, how much it's changed in this community.
That's wonderful. It matters to people. That's wonderful. Just going back to, what do you feel like have there been any challenges?
There are always challenges. There are always organizations that don't understand, that really do not want to do a kosher event because they don't have that many choices in food and caterers. But the overwhelming desire to be inclusive is very important to all of us in the Jewish community. So we really don't want to leave anyone out, and I've been able to convince about 99% of every organization in Dallas now that has a community-wide event that is kosher. So everyone has the opportunity to attend. And food is the lowest common denominator. We all want to be there for the food, for the snacks, for the hors d'oeuvres, for the drinks. And therefore, if it's all kosher, we can have our friends come, we can bring our rabbis.
So it sounds to me, this has been a very successful organization, and it's grown. I think people are supporting it, and how many people are on your board?
Well, we went from a very large board of community engaging everyone at every synagogue and every school, but it was not a manageable situation because we really needed to get down to business. So at this time we have a much smaller board, but we have another group that's called the Community Advisory Committee. And the Community Advisory Committee is one representative from every school, from every congregation, and every organization that meets 4 times a year. And we are able to say, what can we do for you? How can we help you? Please be our liaison back to your organization so that we know what our goals should be, and we will operate that way. So that's been a great way to conduct business. At this time, we have around 70 commercial accounts. That means factories that produce product in New Mexico, Chicago, New Orleans, all throughout Texas. And we are the largest Vaad Hakashrus, which means Organization of Kosher, in the Southwest region that has so many commercial accounts that produce from dairies, maybe 10 dairies, trucking companies, spices, tortillas, all kinds of different products, even chemicals. Now, who wants to eat propylene glycol? But you know what? It has to be kosher to go into your food products. So we've really grown in that way. We started out with no restaurants when I started, and maybe 1 part-time caterer, no supermarkets. And now we have 4 caterers, and we have 7 restaurants. And I think that we serve the community well. That's pretty much how it's changed because of the influx of young families that are either moving to Dallas or making the commitment to have kosher observance.
Well, Jeri, I want to thank you. This sounds like the organization has just, it's such an important part of our Jewish community. And it's so nice that you've been part of it for so long too. So thank you so much for sharing everything.
Thank you for asking.
Thank you.